Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so happy to have you here today, as I am with every episode. I am super grateful to have you listening. And one thing I would like to do before I start the episode is to just, in addition to saying thank you, ask for your support. I could use some additional reviews on Apple Podcast or some of the other podcast platforms. I've got 84 or 85 now, and my goal right now is to get to 100. Why are the reviews helpful? Well, and I'm very happy that I have 84, by the way, which is more than most. But two reasons. One, a review of the podcast obviously gives it credibility with people who come across it on the app. Or look it up for the first time. The more the better. And of course, 5 stars is great, but I'm not asking for a 5-star review. I'm just asking for a review. And second, my understanding, at least, is that the algorithms for the podcast app skew toward those that have more reviews. So the more reviews that I have, the more likely that the podcast is going to be found. So I appreciate that. Two, I want to thank everyone who has bought my book, ownershift: How Getting Selfish Got Me Unstuck. It's really been a tremendous to get reviews on Amazon from people who've read it, but more than that, to get the emails from people who've read the book and said to me, not that it was a great book, but that it impacted them. It made them think differently. It made them want to accomplish more, to go bigger. Which of course is my goal. So if you haven't read the book yet, or you haven't picked it up, you can get it on Amazon at ownershift is the name of the book, SHIFT, How Getting Selfish Got Me Unstuck. And if you do pick it up and you read it and you like it, please shoot me an email or put a review up on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or wherever you like to do that. And I will personally thank you for that. And it would be very helpful for me as well. So let's get into today's episode. It's just me today. We're just doing a short episode. And it's about protecting your time, focus, and energy. And one of the best ways to do that is to become someone that no one wants to complain to. Become someone that no one wants to complain to. I actually heard Dan Sullivan say that on a podcast, and like with a lot of stuff that he says, when I heard it, I was like, you know what? That is exactly the type of thinking that I've used for the last, at least 6, 7, 8 years since I was in the valley that you can read about in the book, The Uncertainty Valley. To really protect my time, focus, and energy. And I wrote a blog post and did a podcast on this as well. It was called 13 Things This Entrepreneur Does Not Do. And number 6 was complain. And number 9 was gossip. And what's occurred to me over the years, and Dan sort of reinforced it with that line, is that complainers need company. They need people to welcome them in and listen to them. And the more that you allow someone into your life to take up space by complaining about something that they either don't like or they can't control, it sort of has a it's got kind of an effect on you where you want to be polite to people, but at the same time, even if you don't agree with them, you feel like, you need to sort of participate and kind of agree and maybe not agree or maybe fully agree. But without that audience, complainers will go somewhere else. And see, complaining and gossiping are sort of the same thing to me, because you really don't get any benefit. I don't get any benefit out of gossiping. I mean, sometimes, is it nice to know this or that? Yeah, but it really doesn't impact me one way or the other. And gossiping doesn't increase or decrease my status. It doesn't increase or decrease who I am because of some story that someone's telling about someone else. So I've become very rigid about protecting my time, energy, and focus by not being someone that you can easily complain to. And it kind of, I know in my family, it kind of, I don't know, makes me a persona non grata sometimes because, people want to complain. I want to complain sometimes. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not a person who doesn't want to complain from time to time, but when people do start complaining to me, I usually go right back at them with something like, okay, well, you don't like it. What are you going to do about it? As opposed to, oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry that's happening for you. Or something along those lines that sort of excuses it and makes it seem like it really is unfair, whatever they happen to be complaining about. And when I do find myself wanting to complain, and maybe I actually get a little bit of a complaint out, and then I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that person, nor do I want the person that I'm talking to be someone that I feel like I have permission to complain to. So my short lesson here is protect your time, protect your focus, protect your energy by becoming someone that no one wants to complain to. And if you can do that, one, you're going to free up a lot of time. You're going to free up a lot of energy. You're going to free up a lot of focus. You are going to be able to do the things that you're, focused on, and not spend this time listening to someone else. And I do put the two together, gossip and complaining, because either one of them can be sort of mind suck and time sucks. And just don't create that company for the complainers and the gossipers around you. Stay out of that. You won't lose a friend. I can tell you that. You won't lose a family member. You won't lose anything. In fact, you will only gain. And I'm all about gaining. So thanks for listening, and I will see you on the next episode. Thanks for listening to this episode of the How Did Happen podcast, where we believe that success doesn't happen unless you make it happen. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or wherever you like to listen. And while you're there, please rate it and leave a comment as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the show, ideas for future guests, or whatever you'd like to share. And of course, you can always find me at mikemalatesta.com. See you next time. Thanks again for listening to the How Did Happen podcast.